I don't know what that noise was, but I made it. So here we go. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new, then welcome. I would love it if you would consider subscribing. Today's video is incredibly exciting for me to sit down and film, as you might be able to tell because I'm a little amped up, but I'm going to be sharing with you my top 5 NSVs, or non-scale victories. If you're not familiar with what that term means, it's basically any weight loss achievement that you have had that isn't specifically tied to the number on the scale. So this is more than just like, hey, I want to lose 50 pounds. This is, well, strap in, you'll see. So I haven't necessarily ranked them in any particular order, although I am going to be saving the best for last. I did post a spoiler pic in my community tab and on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook because I was too excited not to, but there's going to be video footage of that particular NSV, so stay tuned. All right, so the first one that I'm going to talk about actually happened quite a while ago, and that was that I was able to return my CPAP machine because I no longer needed it. So if you have been around for a while, you will know, okay, here's the backstory. I underwent gastric bypass surgery in August of 2019. I have now lost just over 110 pounds. However, in order to be approved for the surgery, I had to meet with a number of different doctors, including an internist. He asked me a bunch of questions relating to sleep and relating to how tired I am in the day and things of that nature, and he sent me for a sleep study, which quite possibly at least the first circle of hell, if not further into it. It was horrible. I did it, I survived, but I was diagnosed with severe sleep apnea. Enter the CPAP machine. That thing, while effective, it was horrible. I hated wearing it. I went through a couple of masks in the few months that I had to use it to try to figure out one that, first of all, would work, and second of all, wouldn't hurt. Because I did have one that was pushing up on my nose. I can't remember the construction of it, but it pushed up on the underside of my nose and it hurt, so my nose was aching. It was a whole big mess. Regardless, about November-ish, I believe it was, of last year, I can't remember the exact date or even the month, late fall, I was able to return the machine because I no longer needed it. And let me tell you, that is incredibly motivating because I don't want to go back to that. Having to wear a CPAP machine, especially at 39, like my 2-year-old at the time was scared of me. I did not feel even a little bit attractive to my husband. Like, it was just a whole nightmare, and I'm so grateful that I no longer need that. The next NSV is one that is fairly predictable, but it's that I can shop straight sizes now. I no longer have to shop exclusively in the plus size section of stores. For the most part, I can wear an extra large or a 2XL depending on the brand, and I can find those within the regular women's line, not exclusive to the plus sizes. For example, this dress is from Gap and it's an extra large and it fits perfectly. It's so liberating and it's so rewarding and motivating and a whole host of other emotions that go into it to be able to shop from straight sizes. The number of options that are open to me, the ability for me to actually figure out what my sense of style really is, because now I can choose from so many more options and not just from what fits, if that makes sense. If you are plus size, you know you're kind of pigeonholed, right? So the selection that's available to you is much smaller anyways, for the most part. Especially here in Canada, I find that we don't have a lot of stores that really cater towards plus size. And some of the ones that do, like more boutique shops, they're going to charge you an arm and a leg. So having this wider availability of options to me allows me to express myself a little bit more and to basically experiment with different stylings. It's really liberating to be able to say no to something because I choose to, not because it looks unflattering on me, or to say yes to something because I want to, not because it's like basically the only option in that size that I can find. So I'm really enjoying that. I bought a bra from Walmart. I know that that means that it's probably not very good quality, but the point is that I bought a bra from Walmart and it fits. That is incredible. That is mind-blowing to me, because for years I have not been able to shop my bra size in store unless, again, I go to a boutique. The last time I went to a boutique, they wanted to charge me $175 for a single bra. I think the hell not. So just having more availability of options is just fantastic, and it's so incredibly exciting for me. All right, this next NSV, we're gonna get a little personal, but I want to mention it because it's part of my experience, and I suspect that it's part of a lot of people's experience that do lose weight. And that is that I can now see all aspects of my body, including the lady garden. I have not been able to see that in quite some time. Shaving was basically a wing and a prayer. You go in blind, you go by touch, and you hope for the best, and you hope that there's no nicks or that you've not missed like a huge patch. I can now see exactly what I'm doing. And that is incredibly exciting for me. Not that I spend vast amounts of time staring at it, but I could if I chose to. The fact that I no longer have to like hoist a boob out of the way, pull my stomach up, suck in my breath, hold my breath, and try to contort myself in order to see what in the hell I'm doing down there, that is a big win in my book. Part and parcel with that, honestly, just comes with this like improved sense of self-esteem, I guess. I feel a lot sexier. Not just because I can see my portal, but I just feel sexier. I do. So the sex life has improved, because let me tell you, this time last year, I didn't want my husband to touch me. It had nothing to do with how I feel about him. It was completely to do with how I felt about myself. So the fact that all things sexual health have improved, and the fact that I just feel more freer because I am more free, it's just a win-win situation. And I'm so grateful to be able to see my lady garden. I know that sounds ridiculous, I know, but I can connect with myself in a different way, if that makes sense. Like, I'm fighting the urge to blush here, but like, go with me on this. It's important to know your body, it really is. And for the better part of a decade, I couldn't see my own body unless I employed the use of a mirror. That does something to your psyche. That does something to your own sense of self-worth and self-esteem, or at least it did for me. It doesn't necessarily have to for everybody, but it did for me. And the fact that that part of my life and that part of my relationship with my husband is so much more improved, I mean, that's the gift that keeps on giving, let me tell you. Okay, moving on to safer territory. The next one, I wish that I had video footage of it. Barrie tried. Somehow, I think the SD card ate it, or just something went awry and I don't have the video footage, but I completed a 5K virtual race, and that is something that I never really thought I'd be able to do, to be perfectly honest. I'm never going to set any land speed records, we'll put it that way, but I'm not trying to. The whole point in me running is to enjoy it and to just get the miles in. It's not about the speed. So it took me just under 40 minutes. I think it was 38, 30 something, 38, 35, 38, somewhere around there. 38 minutes and some amount of seconds. But that was the fastest I'd ever done a 5K. And Barrie was at the finish line with the kids. They made a little ribbon for me to run through. They cheered me on, and it just, It meant so much to me just to have their support, to know that I was actually physically able to do it. And even though it was just a virtual race and there was nobody else around, it was still amazing. And it made me feel like I was part of this running community, even though I really had no contact with anybody else who had done it. And I put my information in, so my finishing time in, and I'm like middle of the pack, which is amazing. I'm sure that there are people who are doing it while walking or doing it with their kids or whatever, and that's totally fine. It still doesn't take away from the fact that I ran it the fastest that I have ever run it. I'm not out there to compete with everybody else, but seeing my ranking somewhere in the middle, and by that I mean in like 1800th place out of like 3,600, 4,000 people, that's still incredible to me. The fact that working out, going on runs, things like that, that it excites me and that it doesn't feel like something that I have to do. It's something that I want to do. It's nothing that I dread. I actually look forward to it. The other day, I went to bed planning to get up early to go for a 7.5K run, and I was excited to get out there and do it. The fact that that is now my approach to it means everything to me, and it basically in and of itself is its own non-scale victory. I no longer view exercise as punishment. I used to view it that way. I used to feel like it was something that I had to do because of my body or because of what I had eaten earlier that day. And now the two things are completely separate. Like, there's the food side of my journey and there's the exercise side. And it's not, I don't really view it as working out per se. I view it as just part of my day, if that makes sense. And I don't do it every day, and I'm not like obsessed with running or anything like that. You'd think I was because I talk about it so damn much, but it's just part of my lifestyle now. And I love seeing my body transform, like seeing muscle tone develop and just feeling stronger. Just feeling that strength within myself gives me more self-confidence, and it's incredible. And I am, like I said, I am so grateful for that. And now it's time for the best NSV I could ever hope for. If you'll recall, if you've been around for a long time, it was probably May of last year, 2019, when I posted a video talking about the fact that I'd made the decision to move forward with gastric bypass surgery and what some of my motivations were for that and my reasons for wanting to go in such an extreme route. And one of the things I talked about was that I wanted to be able to play with my kids. With Aspen, she was 7 at the time I posted that video, but I'd always sort of taken the pictures from the sidelines. I didn't go on the rides with her. I didn't climb the play structures or anything like that. And Bennett was only about 2 at that point, but already I was staying home and Barrie would take them to the park. And it was because I knew how exhausted I would be just walking there. Or if I did go, I would just sit on the bench because there was no way I was going to climb the play structures because I was terrified I'd break it or I'd get stuck or some other sort of catastrophe would ensue. And one of the biggest things, like the biggest dreams that I had, was to go down the slide with Bennett on my lap because I never got to do that with Aspen. I just never got to do it. Well, less than a week ago here in Ontario, our parks reopened. So guess what I did? It was far from graceful. I remember as a kid, we had like those metal slides and it was basically a frictionless surface and you just shot right down there, but you had to be sure that your skin didn't contact it or else you'd get like a 3rd-degree burn on your butt. This one was not designed in that way. Also, I am 5'9", so going around those curly cues did not work out so well. That's beside the point. The fact of the matter is, I went down the slide with my son on my lap. It means everything to me. That means more to me than fitting into a certain size. That means more to me than any number on the scale could ever mean. And I did it. I'm just so happy and so thrilled that these are the memories that my son will have of me. And I'm forming new memories with my daughter. I even took her on a run a little while ago. We did like a 1 minute walking, 1 minute running thing, but being able to be more active with them and teaching them, setting that example for them is just, it's just so wonderful. Anyways, I wanted to share that with you guys. I'm so grateful for your support in all of this. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I'm just, the number of people who commented on my pictures of Bennett and I on the slide, look at his little face. Also, look at my legs. What the hell? I've never been that muscular. Even as a teenager, I have never been that muscular. But anyways, everybody who commented on that and like got teary-eyed on my behalf and sent me messages like, you people, you are my community, and I just am so, so thankful for you, and you will never know the impact that you've had on my life and just how positively you impact me. So thank you. With that, I'm going to wrap this video up. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next one. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.